Hello viewers and welcome back to another episode of Season-oge Anime Spotlight, the show where I look at the queer characters of each season of anime and talk about them as they are in the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season. First off, we have one of my favorite gay couples, Toya and Yukito from Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Arc. Now those who watched my last episode might ask why I'm not including characters like Sakura, Shaorin, or Tomoyo here.
Well, while Sakura and Shaorin are both bisexual, I don't think this series will talk about it like the last one, and Tomoyo is, well, you know. So currently, Toya and Yukito are the only gay couple that I'll talk about from the show. Since this series takes place after the last series, Toya and Yukito are in college together and also work together as well. Now we haven't had that many scenes of the two of them together yet, but we still see Toya being worried about Yukito and his other persona as Yue. They also talk about wanting to help Sakura through her struggles.
While we haven't had too much of them together yet, they are still really cute, and I'm sure that we'll get more moments of them together in future episodes. Next up is Lin, from Hakata Tonkotsu Ramen. Now this character was a huge surprise to me because Lin is a crossdresser who is also a hitman.
But the cool thing is that Lin crossdresses just because he wants to. He doesn't do it because he's a crazy killer and his crossdressing is because he's weird and twisted. He doesn't do it in order to confuse the people that he's ordered to kill or let their guard down around him. He does it because he likes it. And he doesn't give a shit when people are weirded out by him with his feminine expression and yet masculine voice. And you know what? That's pretty freaking awesome. And Lin's mission to get revenge on the people who killed his sister will be a great journey to watch.
Definitely the queer surprise of the winter season. And lastly are the characters that you've all been waiting for, Yuzu and Mai from Citrus.
You know what? I know a lot of people really like this series. After all, the anime is based on the most popular Yuri manga ever, so I won't go about actively shitting on this anime. Instead, I'll just list the play-by-play about what the two characters do together in the first episode. First, we have Mei groping Yuzu's body in front of everyone, with much focus on her butt, in order to take her phone from her. Later, we have the sudden revelation that Mei is going to be Yuzu's new stepsister, because Yuzu's mother and Mai's father are soon going to be married. And finally, when asking about the kiss that the teacher forced on Mai pushes Yuzu and forcibly kisses her. And when Yuzu tries to resist and clearly is very uncomfortable with it, Mai continues to force her down and kiss her. And the way that the scene is shot and the expression of Yuzu throughout it and after makes the scene veer way into the category of sexual assault.
So yeah, we have a lot to look forward to with this show. Let's not waste any time and get to our next segment, Recap of Last Season. The part of the show where I look at the queer anime of last season and talk about whether their stories ended nicely or badly. But that does mean that there are spoilers ahead. You have been warned. First, let's talk about my two favorites of the season, Ren and Natsumi from Konohana Kitan. In this show that I originally thought was just going to be filled with queer baiting, these two proved me wrong with their sweet and heartwarming relationship.
Well, nothing really concluded with these two that we didn't already see in the beginning. The moments of them together were still very fun and enjoyable. Like how Ren thought that Natsumi got her pregnant somehow when she mistakes an egg attached to her stomach for a baby, or when Satsuki's sister flirts with Ren, which upsets Natsumi. However, a great episode featuring these two was the second half of episode 7, when visiting a festival, Ren does her best to look her cutest so that Natsumi will notice her more. But she becomes annoyed when she thinks that Natsumi isn't paying attention to her, and she becomes jealous when a bunch of women, mistaking Natsumi for a boy, fawn over her. Noticing this, Natsumi confronts her and they enjoy the fireworks together. I love this relationship because of how sweet and simple it is.
They were easily the most enjoyable part of this surprisingly satisfying anime. Next up is Akira from Welcome to the Ballroom. In the second half of the show, we are introduced to Akira, Chinatsu's old childhood friend and now rival.
They don't get along and Akira likes to push Chinatsu's buttons. It is only later revealed that Akira actually has a crush on Chinatsu when they were younger. The two were close after Chinatsu stood up for Akira, who was bullied because of her weight, and the two of them became dance partners, but later circumstances caused them to drift apart. Not much is done here with Akira's gayness, just the fact that it is revealed and adds a little more to her character. But in the end, nothing happens. and though Chinatsu and Akira seem to be getting along better now, the execution of it isn't done well.
Maybe it'll be talked about more as the manga progresses, but like with most of the anime, it leaves more to be desired. Though I'm still not positive about the two of them. Next up is Mao and Hitomi from 2CAR. Great title.
This one is more subtext, but is more apparent than the other girls. While we aren't given that much information about Mao and Hitomi, they only appear in every episode for a good 2 to 5 minutes. In these times, they always comment about how connected they are for their hearts, though the gag sometimes is that they aren't as connected as they think sometimes. I can't firmly say that this is a lesbian relationship as they don't say anything definitive to confirm it, but the two of them wear matching rings. Of course, that doesn't mean that they're married, but couples rings are a popular thing in Japan, so there's that.
Whether or not this is true or not, Mao is called a cross-dressing beauty, so there's that at least. Next up, I want to quickly talk about the two characters of Chi and Yuzu from Girls Last Tour.
Though it's pretty subtle all around, the relationship between these two girls grows as each episode passes, concluding in the final episode where, upon learning that they might be the last two humans alive on Earth, they say that they want to survive together for as long as they can, and then profess their love for each other. This moment, which is framed as a super romantic moment, tipped the scale for me when trying to figure out the relationship between Chi and Yuzu. It's really subtle, and whether or not this kind of relationship is true for these two characters, they are both still very cute.
There's also the fact that I heard that the author of the original manga wrote an AU one-shot where Chi and Yuzu are dating. So there's that at least. And lastly is Hidori from Blend S. Now, just a heads up, Blend S was an anime that I didn't watch this season, so the only thing that I really know about it is the S stands for a meme that came from the opening theme, like this one for example.
From what I know from research and asking people who watch the anime, Hidori is a pretty fun character. He's a cross-dresser who has dreams of being an idol. When he reveals himself to be a boy, the other characters are surprised of course, but don't really think about it afterwards. They even let him dress as a girl when working at the cafe. It helps that Hidori is open and unapologetic about who he is, and the anime doesn't draw humor out of the cast's discomfort. It comes from Hidori sort of being a wild card, always looking to cause trouble.
So that's refreshing, I suppose. And now we've reached our last segment of the show, Shadow's Heterosexual Pick. The part of the show where I pick an anime that may not have any queer characters in it, but is still pretty good. And this season's pick is Violet Evergarden.
This has been an anime that a lot of people have been looking forward to. From the absolutely gorgeous animation to the sweet story, this is an anime that everyone is watching. Watching Violet recover from her fighting in the war and wanting to understand what I love you means, which was the last thing her commander said to her before she died. This journey is great and features a lot of emotional moments that hit you right in the feels.
This is an anime that hasn't disappointed so far, and I look forward to watching the rest of it for the next 2 months. So, that's the end of the episode. It's the 1-year anniversary of the show, so I hope you guys are still liking it. If you do, like and comment anything that you want to say, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. Catch you later.